Hi guys, FrostFangs here, welcome back once again, of course, to another Paladins video. We are on the public test server now with the new update, the Genlock update with REI, although for some reason she doesn't show on the main screen. She is of course here though. I'm going to be making a full video on her today, not explaining her kit because I did that already in the overview video, which if you haven't seen, watch that one first so you know everything about how she kind of works. So what I'm doing today instead would usually be in my second video on the PTS with a new character, just going to jump straight into gameplay with her and play it in some matches. I've done that already. I've actually got a level 4, I played I think 2 or 3, but she is kind of busted, which I'll explain now in the intro, and I'll show you the setup I'm going to be running. The first point that I want to make is that restraint is different than it was on the patch notes. I don't know what it was on the live show, it might have been this. What it should be doing is slowing the enemy, then ruining them after 3 seconds, and instead it now makes it so that when you're linked to an enemy and you use your F, they can't get any healing, which is still a really weird talent. Again, I don't know if it was like that on the live stream show, because I can't remember, but it's gone from a talent that I didn't think was going to get much use and was kind of weird to another talent that's not going to get much use and I also think is kind of weird. So either way, that is, restraint. We're going to be going for extension today. I don't have focus unlocked anyway, but I don't think I'd use it just because this one does seem like her best talent, at least at the moment. And then for the build, I have 2 different ones here. I would have a third one, but one of the cards I would throw in it doesn't work, and it's a pretty important one. Spring to Action doesn't actually do anything, at least as far as I could test. I think Yagarath also had a broken card on the PTS, and it went through the same way, so if she goes through the same as she is on the PTS, don't use this card because it doesn't do anything, but what it should do, give extra healing to the person you have as your mark, up to 100 every second, and it doesn't do anything. It's just 50 a tick regardless of if you have this card or not. She also has a few other smaller busted things, but they're not going to change how you play her, so I'm not going to mention them here because they'll probably be fixed. But for the 2 different setups, they are very similar. They just have one card different and then the leveling moved a bit. So the first card, which I've seen a bunch of people rock, is really, really strong. You give 2% ult charge to every person that your chain heal hits, which is massive because it bounces like 4 or 5 times. And it can also bounce to you, so you can actually gen your ultimate faster. Really, really strong card. Same thing with the Pori Prayer, or however you'd say that word. You give 50% reload speed after your chain heal bounces. This does work a bit weirdly though, because your chain heal won't actually go on cooldown until after it's finished bouncing, so that 50% reload speed trigger didn't seem to actually take effect until after it's stopped. So if you reload as soon as you hit right click, you won't get the buff. You have to wait for it to actually go on cooldown until that seems to trigger, but the cooldown on the right click is like 3 seconds, so this is nearly a permanent movement speed buff a lot of the time. Then we have a bunch of extra health, a filler card and another filler card, still kind of useful though. And then the second version of the setup, it has again 4 of the same cards, 2% ult gen for every time we bounce it, reload speed but for only 1 second instead of 2 as it was in the other setup, less extra health, 100 instead of 200, then the ammo again at level 1. Honestly, this card 2 ammo per level is pretty damn good considering you only have 6 by default. That's like a 33% increase to your mag for just 1 point into a card. Then the different card is Ico Forces, which reduces the damage you can take by 5% for 2 seconds for every ally you hit with your chain heal, and this stacks. So if you hit 3 or 4 people with your bounce, you'll actually get like 15-20% damage reduction. Definitely was kind of weird playing REI for the first couple of matches because I expected her to have some sort of movement ability. I was using my F trying to get away, but obviously it just buffed my speed and I was running away a little bit faster, but it didn't throw me anywhere. It's weird playing a healer without like a leap or a dash or something. To me, she felt the best to play is kind of like a hybrid where you're throwing out your heals all the time, you're kind of pocketing somebody, and you're also dealing damage and dueling every now and again. She can also kind of counter snipe with damages and stuff. The range on her heal and her mark is kind of low. I wish she had a card to buff that out. Maybe that's something they might want to add because I feel like a lot of her cards aren't going to see that much play, but she can actually deal damage at a pretty good range and it doesn't have any drop off, so you're dealing like the full 450. Alright, well for game 1 I was quick enough to grab her. We've got Siege Certain Beats, we've got a bike, we've got a Fury, a Kinessa and a Maeve. Another thing that feels kind of odd with REI, at least to me, is a lot of the time it's kind of hard to heal the person you want to because of how the way the bounce works. Don't feel like I worded that properly, but there were a few times when I was sat there, somebody in front of me was kind of low health, I'd right click and it would hit them like once, I'd get like 500 or 600 healing on them or whatever, and then it would just go bounce on people that were like full health. So I feel like it could do with a bit of tweaking so that maybe it prioritizes people who are a little bit lower, especially with the extra range on the talent. But we'll go ahead and grab, I guess, the damage reduction one here. Servers are of course fried as it is the PTS, so 250 ping, this is going to be a real laggy game. We're just going to sit up here on the right side, throw our heals on the Furia. She's going to stop the beam on the Nando, or at least it looked like she was trying to there. There's a right click on whoever that hit. Obviously I'm still going to be pretty janky with REI because it's one of my first games. Have I just been kicked out of it? I think I have. It's probably going to put you right back to the lobby because that's the type of crash it was. Yep, we're right back at the freaking start. Alright, well for game 2/1 we've got Onslaught Primal Corp, we've got a Vatu, a Ying, shoutouts to Avora, and then we also have a Lian. Shoutouts also to Vatu. Then for their side we're up against a Maeve, a Jen, also Yag, a REI, and an Octavia. Not that there's really too much to the inspect of her weapon because she doesn't have a weapon, but I might as well show it to you here. I also really like her reload animations. They've been doing top-notch work. Vatu's one was fantastic, one of my favorites. She also has some really cool ones because she actually has 3. One where she cracks her fingers, then she has the other one where she kind of shakes her hands, and the third one where she kind of just also does this weird shake of her hands, I guess. For they're just saying that she has really high ping. Ying saying the same thing. It isn't me, obviously. It did try and bounce off the Ying, but it went to me. There's a right click for the Vatu and also the Vora that will tap over there on her. I guess we can throw the mark. There's a right click, get some tick damage on her, I guess. We're going to throw another right click there. Cooldown on it is tiny, of course. It'd be kind of hard for Yag to go through me, actually, now that I think think about it. There we go. She's gone. Right click on the Vatu. That's Yag ulting me. Okay, I guess I'll die. So now I want to be able to go through her health on my own. Don't know if that was really worth doing, but that's my first death. We'll get our Chronos 2 and run straight back in. There's a right click for the Vatu. We'll throw our mark on him there as well. The right click does go through walls, which is important to know because I don't know if they show that off in the show. There's a Q and the ultimate for the Ying, so she's immune. There's a right click for her as well, though she's back over there. Hello, Vora. You're not Vora. You're Maeve, of course, but you're still dead. Don't know if I said that already, but her weapon feels pretty damn good to use. So does her heal. Overall, I like Rei a lot. That's why I would place her as like a B or like an A, at least for how much I enjoy playing her. As to how good she is, it's kind of impossible to tell because we're on the PTS, but she feels at least solid. You forget quite often to redeploy the mark, but there's a little bit of a heal on the Vatu. Yag's just kind of running around right there for the Vatu as well. It's a bit of a hectic one. We are doubling their score though, so it's going pretty well. We're going to jump down here with the Vatu. There's a Q and a right click. There's some little taps. I guess we can F. Oh, god damn it, I'm getting ulted again. Q and a right click there again. She does feel like a very active healer, which is something that I like. It feels like you're providing a lot of utility as well with the ult charge and the reload speed and stuff. Little tap or two. There's a right click as well. That was the Vatu ult on the Maeve. Nice. We'll throw a right click there. I do have the ult up because you do gen it pretty quick, especially with the extra on the bounce. I was just about to hit him with the Q and the F. That didn't work. Tried to Q the Vora. That went on the Yag instead, although that's actually dealing some solid damage. The range on the damage part of the Q feels a little bit longer than the heal one, but that's probably just me imagining it. Q there on the Lian and a right click there as well. There's a Q on the Ying. I'm going to try and get rid of the Yag. We actually nailed it. There's a right click. I guess I could go for the ult. We're going to go for the F instead and then pull back as we throw over some shots and a right click or two. There's some little taps for the Maeve. I think I'm probably dead. I don't have my mark on anybody. We'll go for the mark and the ult. That might save me. There we go. It does get affected by Cauterize though, which is something that is important to mention because it says it heals you up to full, but Cauterize will counter that. There's the F for the Vatu as he runs in. Right click off the Ying. That's Yag going for the ult again. Overall, I would say she feels pretty polished. There's the F and the right click. I'm just going to wiggle over this way. She does have a bit of jank, of course, because it's Paladins, but she feels better than I expected. Honestly, this is a really good map for Rei, I'd say. I feel like I'm getting pretty constant heals. There's a right click. Ying went for the ult. Little tap over there on the Yag. Should bounce around a little bit, trying to hit the enemy Rei, but her hopping around is actually throwing me off a bit. She looks kind of like a Lian. Her character model, when you're up against her, looks like Lian. It kind of reminds me of her. We'll go for the F here to save her from some damage. She's going for the execute. Rip Yag. Hello, Octavia. There's a kill. Okay, there goes the Vora there. I probably should have done a better job on heals. Throw the mark on the Yag for the extra damage. Try and clear her before she gets rid of the Vatu. She's, again, playing very, very aggressively. There's a mark onto the Vatu instead, and the F for the damage stuff. Well, that doesn't really help. I'm just doing it for the speed. What I was trying to say, though, is that I was expecting you to be able to buy Guardian, even if you couldn't deploy shields, because, you know, it's Paladins. I was expecting that to just be something they didn't think about, but they actually made it so that you can't buy Guardian if you don't have the ability to deploy them, which is kind of cool. There's the ult for the Ying to make sure she's still up, and a right click on her too. There's some little taps for the Maeve. Right click him and the Ying. Hello, Octavia. You're just out. There's a right click. There's a mark on the Genos. Some little taps for him over there. Yag's pushing in. I'm expecting her to ult. Yeah, she's been making that play over and over again. Still feels weird not having blast shields for area damage, but there's some taps over there for the Yag. Right click for the Lian. She went for the ult. You can just see the little heal there bouncing around. Octavia just flying in the air. Don't think I will have the best stat ever in this one, but I've been doing at least fine. There's my F. There's a right click on nobody. Okay, we've got one on the Ying. More taps on the Yag. There's the mark. We'll just get a heal on the Vatu. It can bounce between us a little bit. Ying's also healing me. Yag's running in again, doing the exact same play. Right click for the Lian. She's going for the ult. We'll switch the mark over to her to deal a little bit more damage. The Octavia blind's making it kind of hard to see, and she's gone. I feel like we should be able to go through her. There was a bunch of us on her. There's the F. I'm pretty sure I'm dead. She's just a very, very active healer, so she reminds me of Maldamba because I'm constantly throwing out heals or throwing out some damage or, you know, doing some sort of utility stuff. She definitely isn't the most similar to Maldamba, but you get what I mean. I went for the ult there, see if we can get rid of this Ying. Not a Ying. There's a right click on the Vatu. There's a Q onto the enemy Rei, who I've barely seen this game. Some taps for a right click on the Vora. Don't have my F up. Just got off cooldown, although I'm pretty sure I'm gone. We did mitigate a bunch of damage with it. She's pushing in. There's the switch of the mark for some damage and some more little taps on her. She should be out here. She's like one hit off. I can just not suck before I finished her off, although I didn't get the assist. That's Yag ulting the Lian on her own, so there's nothing she can really do to deal with that. Score is 390 to 363. Didn't think we were going to lose this one, but it seems like we will. There's the Q and the F. There's the right click on the Ying. That's the General's going for the ult. We got rid of the Ying. We're right at the end here. 399. I'm pretty sure we've lost it. There's a right click, but yeah, there is the defeat. I don't know how the Yagarath was ulting so much. I feel like she was ulting 24/7. I never really saw her do anything else. I'm going to have to look and see what she had there because she was genning it crazy quick. But yeah, there we go. There are the stats. That was a bit of a hectic one. 6-5-18, 65k damage, 55k healing. I'm fine with that considering I am still pretty awkward with Rei. Ying did pretty good. She beat us out in heals, but did less damage, which is weird because I felt like she was doing pretty good amounts. Vora did pretty damn good. So did our Vatu, and Lian did fine there as well. Shout outs to their Genos. I'm going to wait for him to see the video, which will be out like a day after we just asked him that question. So a delayed response, but a more detailed one that I can leave here in the chat because if I'm recording, I usually just answer whatever you ask me in the video. But shouts to the both of them. I feel kind of rude not responding here, but I'm sure they'll understand once they see the video. Very weird stats on their side. I feel like we should have won that, but Yag and the fact that they played the objective more, I think, is what won it for him. Alright, well, we've got Siege, Splitstone Quarry, we've got a Ying, we've got a Barak, and also there are Drogos and Inando, unless any of them switch. Okay, a Vora instead. Shouts to our Nando, also our Barak, and also, who is it? That's our Ying. I think they have a REI, they have a Victor, they got a Vora, Knessa, and a Tiberius. I switched up the skin because I won't make a full video about the new REI skin. I'll just show it here. Grab the same setup with the damage reduction, and we'll start with Kronos again. We'll do a little bit of an inspect, although her hands are going to look, of course, very similar. Of course, the difference is mainly for third person, and I think the effects are the same. As far as I can tell, they might have a bit of extra flair with like a flowery effect, but I can't remember if that was on her normal one. We got one that's presence, Aegis, Forge Fire Resonance, Extension, Burst Mode, Unyielding Pressure, Titan's Fury, and Steady Aim. Vora pushed up very aggressively, actually got rid of the Knessa, but then died. A bit strange. There's a Q switch over to the Nando. Right click there for the lot of them. You pretty much constantly just have area heals. Tiberius is pushing in. There's the F for the speed, and then we're going to run indoors a little bit. We'll throw the Q over there onto him. Right click for the, I guess, Nando. There's some little taps for the Tiberius if my hits can just land with the lag. He got away nearly. Okay, there we go. Finished him off. I thought he was just going to jump off. There's the F for the reduction stuff. There goes the Vora. Right click on the barrack. I wish I had a little bit of a lower cooldown, but that's why we're getting Kronos right. Victor ulted, jumped on it. There's the overtime trigger again, and that's going to be the 1-0. We do have a bit of a cheesy team comp with the double heal, the double tank, especially with double shielding there as well. Don't know where Knessa is, but Tiberius is here. There's the mark. I think I'm just dead. I'm trying to play near the thing so that maybe he can jump into it by accident. There's a right click. I'm trying to use the F. There we go, and he's gone, but so am I. You do have a pretty damn big heal range if you go for this talent, and you've got at least one person close to you, similar to Corvus. She plays probably closer to Corvus than Maldamba, so that's a better comparison, really. Saying that though, I feel like Corvus is a little bit less active, which is why I went with the Damba comparison. There's the F on the Ying and a right click. She's still up. We'll switch the Q over to Nando, or I'll just fail to switch it and cancel it instead. I don't even know why that was a thing I did. There's the ultimate. I'm pretty sure I'm gone here. We've got the immunity, but I'm going to get cleared. I guess we're going to live for a little bit longer. I don't know how the hell we won that team fight. I was just throwing out my right click. I didn't even use my F because I was saving it. Did throw a right click again, but I don't know who the hell it hit. There's a kill on the REI. There's a right click for the Nando. I'm just going to use the F here so that we can mitigate a lot of that damage. Thank you, Ying. I'm going to give him a hand. There's the Q for the little tick heal and a right click that should bounce up to the Nando, maybe. Right click there again. It is just like a constant AoE heal as long as you have like one person close to you. Vora's pushing in. She's probably going to be cleared here. Did try and heal with Ying, but I don't really know what happened. There's one for the barrack, which will bounce a little bit, get some ult gen. There's the F for him to mitigate some damage and some little 450s and a right click. Gonna go for the ult just to put him up to full. I don't know why that didn't work. Wasn't that meant to give him 2 seconds of immunity? That was kind of bullshit. I don't know why my ult just didn't trigger. That was strange. That's the Nando getting ulted, and there is the push failed. Yeah, I feel like we might have had that if the barrack got put it back up to full and mitigated the damage he was meant to, but he just died. It does say in the description that it makes them completely immune and then heals them back up to full. So yeah, I'm assuming that it was the lag, but hopefully that gets fixed for lives that can't happen, because it did consume my entire ultimate and gave me pretty much nothing. Right there for the barrack. I guess it healed me up to full, but still that just seemed like it was a bug. There goes the Tiberius nearly. Ying's throwing the decoy. Okay, Q there for the barrack. Right click there for a little bit of a bounce between the set of them. Vora's playing very aggressively. It's working quite well. We actually just got rid of the, I guess, Knessa. For some reason I forget her name. That does show you what the damage potential is with REI. 450 a hit with like no drop off, and like a pretty easy way to land it because it just goes in a straight line. You just have to predict forward a little bit. Did use my F there, but I died because I think it triggered a little bit after the Knessa hit me. Looks like it did, but Fernando's saying that he's throwing every time he plays with me, which I don't necessarily agree with. I feel like we're overall doing fine here. There's a right click for the Nando and some little bounces going on there. There's another one. There's a switch over to the Ying. He's going for the ult. I guess we're making some sort of pushbacks going around for like a flank. Right click there again for the Ying. We'll switch the mark over, get some little taps maybe. There's a Q and a right click. She's fine, although Vora just did like an execute animation. I have no idea what just happened. Sonic rings dropping out. Okay. There's the F for the barrack and a right click there to heal everybody back up to full. There's another right click for him. Just get some bounces going. I guess we can go for our ult to put him back up to full quickly. And then there's the switch with the Q. There's a right click on the barrack. That's the Victor going for the ult. There's my F to mitigate some of the damage. I should have used that sooner to heal him up really, but there's some little 450 taps. Hello Tiberius. There's the Q and the right click. I think I'm dead. There is the push failed. Of course we're going to lose that team fight. I used the F expecting to mitigate more, but of course the Vora pretty much deals full damage to me because only one of her things deals over the 275 threshold because it's, you know, tick damage most of the time. So Vora is actually a counter to REI, as you'd imagine, similar to Koga and stuff. Let's just go into round 3. They've got a lot of lifesteal. I mean, we have a lot of quarter so it should be fine. That's the Victor going for the ult. There's a right click on the Ying, just a little bit of a bounce going on. Now let's push him around the side. We can't really get many heals to him. He got ulted by the Vora as he was falling. Okay, there goes our barrack. Now there's just the 2 healers and the flanker alive. I'm pretty sure we're screwed. There goes the Ying before I could even use my F. There's the F, there's the mark. Let's get rid of the Vora. I'm now the last one alive and I have no movement, so I'm pretty sure I'm just dead. There's no way anyone's going to get to me in time here to save me, so I'm just going to play this little wall to annoy them. Yeah, that team fight went really badly. Just happened again. Ying just went for the ult to save herself, which is a bit silly. She was fine there anyway. I think I might be dead. Maybe we can kill Tiberius. No, he's on nothing. Right click there for the little bounce heal. Ying finished him off with the decoy. When we play as a team, it works really well. There's the F for the Ying, but she's already dead. There goes barrack as well, and I'm the last one alive. But when we get split up or we overextend and we do stuff like that, it just kind of screws us over because you need to be close to the team to heal them. I definitely say this is a worse map for REI, really. I feel like I'm having a much harder time on this one. We did get a right click, but there goes the Vora. There's a little tap for the Nando. Q and a right click on the Ying. She's going for the ult. Don't know if we're going to be able to hold this one, but there's the F to mitigate some stuff. There's a little tap for him. Ying just teleporting over there. Right click for her. Heal there for the Nando. I'm just worried they're going to go around for like a sneak push or something. I think if we just stick as a team here, we'll easily have this in the bag. There's the F. We're not really going to take anything from that. Bit of a waste from the Nando. Right click, Q onto the Ying and the right click. Overall, I feel like I'm doing fine, but this map definitely shows some of the weaknesses of REI. I guess he's trying to go for like a sneak push or something. There's a right click. We're going to go for the F for that speed so we can push in on him here and then finish him off. He's not looking too good. There we go. I'm going to go for the ult to heal the Nando back up to full. Switch the Q over to the bag and right click him. Probably a waste of the ult there because it is going to be 3-3. Maybe I should have saved it, but I feel like they were going pretty hard there for that push, and if they'd have won that team fight, that would have been a 2-4, so maybe it was worth. No, there is the 3-3. I feel like I should have saved it, but I'd be kicking myself if they won that 2-4. We can't gen it in the base, by the way. That's something that I actually had people ask me if the card works in the base, because Tiberius is the one used to. You can't. It just doesn't let you gen any of the ult at all until you get out of the spawn room, I think, or until the round starts at least. We'll finish off our Haven. We've just got max damage reduction going here. It isn't as much as before, but we have it on area damage and direct damage, so it ends up being just as effective, if not more. Is the 3-3 round, so if we lose this one, it is going to be over. I'm trying to throw over some little left clicks. It's Victor with the nade. We'll get a quick little reload in. F for the back. Right click off him. Their cauterize really is screwing me. There's some little taps. Let me get a heal if I can get the angle. There we go. Little right click Frim. We'll drop the Q there as well. Victor's going in. Nando with the counter ult. Love it. That was actually fantastic. He timed that really, really well. There's an F for the back. There's a right click on the Ying. I think we got this one. Tiberius is jumping in here. I wish I kind of say my F, but he is gone. Yeah, that is going to be the 4-3. Shouts to the Vor. I think her pushing up there won us that one. That's going to trigger the overtime because it is 3-3 anyway. I don't think they're going to be able to get back in. We'll throw our little shots just in case, but nah, there is the victory. Thought we were going to lose that one. Well done, team. Really came together there in that last round. And Nando and Vor playing aggressively actually worked in that one, whereas in some of the other rounds, the way they went around, God is kind of screwed. Ended up working quite well, but my stat is still kind of janky. Damage is the lowest in that game, other than their REI, which is kind of funny, and then our healing is better than our Yings, but less than their REI because we had the double healer. 85k though is pretty good. For the rest of the stats, our Vora did pretty good, although she did die quite a bit. The Ying did a really solid job there. Barak did really well. He played the objective a ton, and Nando did solid there as well, playing quite aggressively. It didn't work all the time, but when it did work, it ended up winning us some of the rounds. Their Victor did solid there, 82k. Their Tiberius did pretty good, but again, was playing sometimes kind of weird and maybe a little bit too aggressively. Kinessa, I didn't really see very much, sitting at the back dealing some damage, and then their REI actually healed for quite a bit. Overall, I like REI quite a lot. She does play quite a bit differently from the other supports in the game, which is what I think they were going for. I like her more than I liked Corvus at release. She has a pretty damn solid collection of cards, although a lot of them are dead. Her talent selection is the weirdest part to me. Extension is pretty good for a talent. Restraint is really weird. Focus also is a bit strange, but can definitely do well, I think, in the more squishy teams. It is, of course, the PTS, so it's kind of hard to tell, but my first impressions for her are better than I thought they would be from reading through her kit. Playing her feels quite a bit better than just reading about her on paper. Let me know your thoughts if you played her in the comments, of course. I'd love to hear them. Thank you for all the love on the overview video. I'm glad I ended up doing it in the end. You guys seemed to enjoy it. It was nice to just sit down for like half an hour or 2 hours in my case before I cut it down, and then actually just talk about all the new stuff, and it saved me some time from explaining in this video and in the future ones where I can just kind of point to it if you want to read stuff. But yeah, thank you for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Of course, I'll see you guys all really, really soon. Let me know where you want to see me do next, and as always, stay Frost. Stay.